All units, please respond. We got a 7467. Two idiots spilling the tea about their neighbors.
Welcome to Crazy Rich Neighbors.
The television legend. There goes the neighborhood.
Hey, benevolent bougie crew and controversial CRN trolls. Shout out to our sponsor podcast, Junkies right here in Boca Raton, Florida.
Today we're joined by daytime Emmy Award-winning and legendary television producer Amy Rosenblum. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Legendary. I love that.
Yes.
You are very much legendary. Give our bougie crew, which is our tribe of listeners, a little top overview of what you've been up to in your career.
Well, they have about 5 hours. I started in the dark ages. No. I can give some lessons in this whole thing. I went to college and I wasn't like such a great student, but I always loved TV. Like I was addicted to the soap operas, One Life to Live and All My Children. And I just always loved TV, like in a crazy way. Like in the old days, That Girl, Petticoat Junction. You people probably never even heard of this
No,
stuff.
I watched That Girl.
Okay, That Girl, Bewitched. But I
yeah.
Rhoda. I was very obsessed with TV in a way that none of my friends were. And I said, I want to go into TV. And I never thought to go on air. I just always wanted to be a producer. So when I went to college, there was my mother wanted me to be a school teacher because that's what everybody did back then. It's
Sure.
Be a school teacher. She was a school teacher. So I was at University of Maryland and there was a sign that said, education to the left and to the right was radio, TV, and film. And I went to the right. And that's really the truth. That's how it happened.
Wow.
And you don't get I think that a lot of the teachers maybe were frustrated because this main guy said, how many people in the class want to be in TV? And we raised our hands and he goes, well, forget it. There's no jobs.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Way to be encouraging.
I don't listen to I don't take no for an answer.
Good.
And that's very helpful in my career. Anyway, I'll go quick. So I ended up getting an internship in my last year of school and got credit for it. And I worked at a local show in New York. And they said to me, you're a booker. You're a great booker. I'm like, what is a booker? I don't even know what that was. But I booked people like Sarah Jessica Parker. She was 12 and she was Annie on Broadway and all people like that, and I just started to see what TV was like and met a lot of stars. And then once the internship was over and it was unpaid, I mean, no one even knew what internships were back then. I'm talking about a long time ago.
Well, that was before Monica Lewinsky, so.
Oh.
Although I did have fun in my internship also, but I was anyway.
Good for you.
Yeah, of course. And anyway, so from there, I did not get a job in TV after that. I got a job at an advertising firm. I hated it. It wasn't for me.
Our world.
That's what I did for many years in New York City.
I hated it. It was like you couldn't hang pictures of your family on the wall. I'm like, this is not for me. There's too many rules. So I ended up landing a job at Good Morning America as a receptionist. And then I got a job working for one of the on-air talent. And she loved me. We hit it off. And she went to the executive producer and said, I want her to be my full-time assistant, because it was like a temporary thing in the beginning. And I stayed there for I would say a year. They fired her. And I said, I'm quitting. How dare you do this to her? I was 23 years old. It was okay, I wish someone would have done that for me, right? So I ended up going to the show called Kids Are People Too. It was one of these and then the executive producer from Good Morning America was leaving to start this show called CBS This Morning with Diane Sawyer and Bill Curtis.
Oh, good one.
I think I was 24. And he
Wow.
said, do you want to be assistant? And I went over there and I worked my way up the ladder to be a full producer at CBS News. And I have some really great stories from there. I don't know whether you want to hear them now or you want me to go through my career and then come back, whatever. What do you guys want me to do?
Oh, this is totally free form.
We would love to hear about the most surreal moment in your storied career.
Well, there were a few. I mean, there were no rules at the airports and stuff like that back then. You know what I mean? So when I was working at CBS News, everybody was from Harvard and they were very Ivy League. And, I went to University of Maryland. And like I said, I was not I became a major student in college, but in high school, it was all about being popular. I didn't care. And that was my job. And so they said they were going to send, I had a lot of chutzpah. You know what chutzpah is?
Yes.
Right? So one time there was something happened. I forgot what, but something happened in Grenada. And everybody was scampering around and everything. And I said, wait a minute, there's a lot of kids. It was a medical school. I said, where I grew up in the 5 towns, it was 90% Jewish on Long Island. And I said, let me call the temples in the 5 towns in Long Island and see whether anyone was there. And there were people that were there. So I went to the airport and I got bookings. And that was when I started to see, this is not genius work. This is just like using your head and having balls and all that sort of stuff. So that was one of the first things. Then another story that I told was that it was the first time I was put in the newsroom with all these like 50-year-old guys who were smoking cigars and cigarettes. And I was like the only woman. And they used to call us video kittens.
Oh my God.
Nobody at CBS News was taking the morning news seriously. We were like the stepchildren to like Dan Rather. So somebody, then there were wire copies. That's how you got stories. Like you pulled the AP wire stories. And there was this story of some guy, his name was Howard Johnson, not the restaurant owner. And I called him, I go, okay, hi, it's Amy Rosenblum. We need you to be on the show tomorrow. We're going to do a remote from the field. He was a farmer. Anyway, that night, and I got him like in 2 minutes, and everybody's like, look at her, she's such a good booker. She got this guy so fast. It was like some kind of story on on the wires. He calls at 6 o'clock. They say, Amy, phone call, pick up. I pick up the phone. He goes, hi, Miss Rosenblum. This is Howard Johnson. Listen, I'm a simple man. I'm a farmer. I can't be on CBS News in the morning. I go, what time is it? He said, 6 p.m. I said, you can't cancel after 6 p.m. He goes, okay, then I'll be there. And at that moment, I realized the power of like a New Yorker.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
ma'am.
I just like pulled it out of my backside because I was like so scared to not please these guys.
Right.
And then a really great story was, there were stories where you could just like go to the airport and talk yourself into getting on a plane. There was this baby Jessie, and it was like the first baby to get a heart.
I remember
that.
I remember that story.
And they were on Phil Donahue. And they announced on Phil Donahue that I was working at CBS this morning, and I was like at home. I think I was in the newsroom. I was at home, and they said, we're getting on a plane. We're going home now. Baby Jessie is getting the first heart transplant. And my bosses called me and said, go to Kennedy Airport, get on a plane. And like I said, it was the old days. It was in the 80s. I went in, on CBS News dime, because everybody had so much money back then. I moved into first class.
Good.
I told the flight attendant that I was family members with baby Jessie. Of course, they believed me. I sat with their priest, went to the hospital with them. I mean, it was just like using your common sense. But I ended up like being the first one to have them. I like, slept at these people's house. I would do anything for a booking. Like you would think now you would get killed. I didn't even think like that. It was more important for me to get the booking.
That's freaking awesome.
I know. And then one final crazy one was that I was sent to Germany, to Frankfurt, Germany. CBS News, Dan Rather. The evening news was like the high end. And like I said, CBS This Morning was the stepsister. We were like, the morning news, like the Today Show, that kind of stuff was not important back then. It was always like the evening news. So Dan Rather was there with like 700 people. And then there were 3 of us from the morning news. And we were all stationed at the Hilton Hotel in Frankfurt. And they said, okay, the hostages are coming in. And I'm saying to myself, like, they're not going to have, the hostage families were coming over to see the hostages were being released. And they were going to come to, I said, they're not going to come to the Hilton Hotel. They're going to come to, like I started saying, oh, where is the military hospital? And it was in Wiesbaden, Germany. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm telling you, I didn't know what I was doing. And you always felt like dumb because you weren't with Dan Rather. You were like in the, stepsister morning news. But Dan Rather was the talent there, and he was a really big deal. It was like after Walter Cronkite. And so I go into I said, well, I have to find like the fanciest hotel near the military base. So I found this like, Ritz-Carlton of Wiesbaden, Germany. And I walked in and I said, hi, I'm with TWA. And I know the hostage families are coming here, right? They said, yes, they are.
Wow.
I said, like, what time do you think they'll be here? Oh, I'm making this up, like 3 o'clock. I said, okay, so they're definitely coming here first, because TWA, we're the PR people, we need to know. Yes, they're definitely coming here, and then they'll go across the street. So I called the people at the Hilton. I said, listen to me. Have Dan Rather come to this hotel. The families are coming here. And, it was always like a kill to the booking wars, Today shows this morning, and a Good Morning America. And they said, if you are wrong, Amy, you're going to get fired. Like, you're responsible now. If we miss this, because we're at the Hilton waiting for him to, to fly into Frankfurt, and then they're going to come to the Hilton. I said, I'm telling you right now. And sure enough, an hour later, Dan Rather was there. The camera was there. They went live with Dan Rather on.
Oh my gosh.
I have chills.
Me too.
That's
huge
insane.
takeaway, like following your gut instinct never led you astray.
Notes. I put notes under the doors. I said, can you give me like, and like, this is like before anyone was great. The world was so much calmer back then. You could talk yourself into anything. And I said, can you just give me a list, like what rooms they're in? So I put letters underneath the doors saying, I'm Amy from CBS This Morning. I'll meet you at the bus. And I ended up taking all the women's pocketbooks. So they could like be with the husband.
Oh,
And I took
wow.
all to our set. And listen,
Smart.
Today's show was number 1. Good Morning America was number 2. CBS This Morning was number 3. Like, you know, and they all had to come to me first because I had their pocketbooks.
Right?
Oh, that was
I love
smart.
that so much.
So strategic.
That is chutzpah.
Yeah.
So then I'll just take you through my career, and I'll try to tell different stories from what I told before. But so I was married when I was 23 years old to my college boyfriend. We're not going to say anything bad, but he didn't want me to work.
Okay.
And I had this fire in my belly. And like,
Mhm.
it would have been a much easier life and not as colorful. So I made the right decision.
Mhm.
And then I met someone at CBS News who was the LA bureau chief. I was assigned to the LA Olympics in 1984, and he was my boss. And we ended up, you know, falling in love. And then CBS News moved him to New York. Like, you watch these movies, and it really did happen like that. So he moved to New York. He moved in together, and he becomes the vice president at CBS News in New York. Anyway, I get married. I have a baby, and I'm like the person they're sending to like fires, plane crashes. Like, it was, you know, I was always the one that, like, you know, had to go to all these really horrible things, like, you know, these breaking stories. Now they say breaking stories. Like, I was at all these things.
Wow.
Trying to get people, like, if the flood was going on now at that camp, whatever.
Right.
So I would have been the person they sent. So just so you understand, it was like they threw me on planes.
Well, you proved yourself after the hostage situation.
Right. So, and even baby Jessie getting into first
Right?
class.
Yeah. That's
You know, going in with the
amazing.
family. Right. And it was like not brain surgery. Anyway, so I have a baby, Adam, and I came back to work, and the first day they go, you have to go to a prison riot in Atlanta. I said, I can't, I have a baby. I'm not doing that. So somebody said, you know, talk shows are really becoming big, and Joan Rivers is going to be having her.
I love her so much.
Yes. Oh, God
So I
rest her
said,
soul.
I love Joan Rivers, and I'm going to send my resume. And I said to my husband at the time, I said, like, I'm never going to get hired because, you know, she had just had that like failure, that whole debacle with Fox in LA. And I figured, I'm going to use all the people from Fox. I'm never going to get hired. Why would she pick me? I sent my resume, and she's a newsie. I mean, she's really smart. And she saw CBS News, and I got hired like a ghost.
Talk about
So,
guts. That woman was gutsy.
I mean, I remember the first day meeting her and I really was in the shower in the morning going, I can't believe I'm giving up my career.
Oh my God. Tell us everything about the first time you met her.
I'll tell you everything with everything. She was one of my best friends.
Oh,
Serious?
I was with her when she died.
Oh my God.
Gosh. I'm so sorry.
I was so fortunate. She was an amazing person, but I'll tell you the beginning. So I was in the shower that morning going, I can't believe I'm giving up my career at CBS News to go to on a talk show. Like, you know, am I ruining my career? And we had a meeting, and some of the people were from Fox. And she walked in, and she was like, I'm so fat. I'm so fat.
What?
Sounds like us.
Never.
She was, I'm so fat. I can't believe how fat I am. I was like, and I was such in awe of her. Like, I watched her over Johnny Carson. Like, you know, I was like,
Absolutely.
And after working for all of those men and just men running the show, and then you have this boss.
But she was like 90 pounds, and she was, I'm so fat. Don't look at me.
She was
so fat."
fabulous.
So I loved her. Like, I was shaking that I was working with her. Like, she was really like a big celebrity. You know what I mean? And like, Diane Sawyer was amazing to work with, but this was like a movie star celebrity person. She was like white. She used to always say white hot.
Hey.
So we hit it off like unbelievably well. Unbelievable. Like, she loved how I produced, and, you know, I would brief her, and I would like sit in the room briefing her. And this is a true story. She was trying on a Chanel belt. And like, I said, oh, I love that belt. Here, take it.
Oh my God.
Aw.
And it began, I mean, she was the most generous, wonderful person in the whole entire world.
What was she like off camera?
So funny, but really deep. So we were like, I'll give you examples. She was like a Jewish mother, but she was so complicated because she was the nicest person. She was so smart. She did not let a million people in, and she let me in, thank God. But, you know, she played favorites, and she definitely favored me on the show. Like, she made me senior producer, like, without discussing it with anyone. Like, it would never happen now because HR would have to be involved. You know what I mean? Like, there were no rules.
Yeah.
We're in her backyard in the Pacific Palisades because she was she was doing shows in Las Vegas. So we did the show from Las Vegas. Remember, I had a baby at home, but I was like, you know, I had a career. So I had a husband who was in the business, so he understood. So I went out to LA with her, with the whole show did, and we were at the Caesar's Palace. It was like crazy life. And she said, I'm going home to LA, come with me. So I like lived at her house with her.
Oh my God.
Melissa was at college, and we couldn't tell anyone that I was there. It was like so stupid because she was like it was like being in junior high school. You know what I mean? Like speaking that I'm living at her house in Pacific Palisades with her. I mean, it was just so funny.
Was
And
Edgar alive at this point?
no, the Fox show, he committed suicide, and the Fox show was like maybe like a year before this happened. So this was her first job after Edgar committed suicide, and she really got blacklisted, by Hollywood.
Yeah.
And the Fox debacle, and then everybody blamed her, for the suicide. And then she came to New York, and everybody was like so in love with her in New York. And so we just like hit it off, and we got closer and closer and closer. And she actually wanted me to be the executive producer of the show. But I was afraid because I really didn't know how to be. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't really feel like I had enough experience to be the number one. So I said, well, I'll be the number two. So she hired a man above me. I don't have to tell you what the end of the story is.
You worked circles around him, let me guess.
Yeah, no. But he was very threatened by my relationship with her.
Oh.
Brought someone else on to be the number two. So instead of causing problems, I didn't want to cause problems. I don't know why. Maybe I had forced, insight that she was going to be in my life the rest of my life. But like I usually would go crying to her, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I'm pregnant again. I got pregnant to get out of the job. So I went home. I had Brett, my second son. About 4 weeks after I had him, my friend Bert Dubrow, who was executive producer of a show called the Sally Jessie Raphael Show.
Ooh, I love Sally.
It was all on the same street. CBS News was on 57th Street, like if you're going down, like on the left. Joan Rivers' offices were across the street, and we taped in CBS News in that same building. And then Sally was across the street of this building called Unitel. So Bert calls me, goes, listen to me. I really need your help. Now, I had worked with him at Kids and People too. I was his assistant. This is how, everybody knows each other. It's a very small world, right? So he was now executive producer of Sally. He discovered her, actually. So he said, I just need you for like 7 weeks to come to Sally because there's this new show, Maury, not the show that I ended up on. This was like a goody two-shoes show that like Paramount was doing, where they would have like 3 lawyers discussing something. It was so boring. And so a lot of the staff from Sally was going over to do that Maury show. So he said, just come help me for 7 weeks. I just need your help for 7 weeks. I didn't know how to do like an hour show. It's very complicated to do an hour show because you have to, get the guests, figure them out, how to make a story. I really didn't know how to do it, but like it came easy to me. You know what I mean? Like real people's stories came easy to me. Like Jonas was more like celebrities. This was like old daytime talk, So I loved it. I really, really did. So anyway, 7 weeks turned into 7 years.
Wow.
I ended up going to senior producer, and then I ended up being co-executive producer. And it was, I would say, of all my things, which I'll tell you about the next things, it was the most creative and satisfying. I mean, she, went along with everything. I mean, it was the beginning. Actually, I'll tell you off camera this other thing, but sorry. It was really the beginning of daytime talk with like My Mother's a Tramp, my boot camp. It went from like goody two shoes.
Yes, to You Are Not the Father.
Well, we'll get to that.
It was like salacious kind
Maury.
of topics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it went from like, I remember I was on the floor and I had on these 2 sisters, and she said, you know what a bitch is? I'm looking at one.
Oh,
And I'm like, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get fired. And the
Hello, FCC.
people love it.
And I was like, it was the moment. It was like that moment that it changed.
Wow.
And it just came very naturally to me, like dealing with these families. And it was the first time you heard people say, he's cheating on me, and it wasn't fake. It wasn't reality.
Yes.
It was relatable too, I would imagine. I mean, this happens every day.
We'd have women on saying, my husband won't let me work. I can't see my family. And like, no one knew what controlling was back then. You didn't know what narcissism was. Like no one ever spoke about it. We had people come on and say, I want to be a man. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, things you just like never heard.
Yep.
This is 1991, 92. So, I just really, really, it was so creative. The man above me, we were co-executive producers, was more like the finance guy. So I really ran the show. And I figured out all these sort of things like during the commercial break, that I would keep the microphones on so that we could hear what they were saying to each other, the people during the break.
Smart.
And a very controlling husband who, we would put them upstairs so they couldn't hear, and then the wife would come on and say, he doesn't let me out of the house, he's so mean, boo, and then they would walk on, boo.
I remember those shows.
I loved it.
And then I said, let's keep the microphones on and roll the cameras during the commercial breaks.
So smart.
And then we heard him say, fuck Sally, fuck. I hope you're bleeping this, or screw Sally.
No, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, fuck Sally, fuck Sally. You said I was controlling. I'm gonna get you. So we had like proof, and then we would do things like call 911 during shows and threaten someone. Like I was so out of my mind. It was such a
the drama.
That sounds so fun.
And it was unbelievable. We had like an 18-year-old who proposed to his like 30-year-old teacher on the air. The mother was crying.
Oh, we can relate to that content.
And then we would get ideas from the mail. Like I would go in on Saturdays and read the mail.
Cool.
And then like Cher would leave messages we had voicemail. It was like 1910. It was such a rinky-dink operation at Sally, but it worked. Like the phone system wasn't sophisticated enough to handle the audience. Like when they would say, if you want to be a member of the studio audience, and this was during a show, call us. And the switchboard would light up. And I would scream, hang up the phones. Because I wanted to see how many people were watching the show. That's how we would figure out if the show rated.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It was so stupid, but it was really like understanding who the audience was. I really
started quite smart.
That's how you succeeded.
What the audience was and what they wanted.
Wow.
And then my family went to Disney World on a vacation. I sat in the room and I started circling which shows with the ratings worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going back to the well with this show. Like, that's why Teen Boot Camp became so big, and Lie Detector. We didn't really get up to Paternity yet, but the Teen Boot Camp was really like Sally's thing. Like, you don't know me. You don't know me, that whole thing. And I loved it. It was crazy. It was like the fat kids are reading pork chops in the morning in the green room. I mean, it was like a crazy, it just was like a crazy, crazy experience. And it was really like having like a blank canvas. There were no rules. Like you could do whatever you wanted.
Humans.
I just want to like listen to your stories for hours on end.
What was Sally Jessie Raphael like behind the scenes?
Behind the red glasses.
Yes.
She's very nice to me, and she really appreciated. She used to say to me, "You're like the Steven Spielberg. Like, you really understand producing. Like, there's some people here who shouldn't be producers. I mean, but it got to the point. I was there 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
It got to the point where the show was rating right behind Oprah. But
wow.
Oprah was like $400 million, and we're gonna bring a plane into the studio, and we were like, hang up the phones. There's too many. You know what I mean? Like we were rinky-dink.
Yeah, but you made it work.
But the thing
it didn't look rinky-dink.
Yeah.
I know, but what I'm saying is they had so much money, Oprah, and we were like, like literally I had to tell the staff to hang up. And I can't even, and then one other thing that I figured out how to do, which I'm proud of, is remember like you would see like a question come up, does your daughter dress like she's tramp, or does your mother try to be a 30-year-old?
Yeah.
And then the phones would ring off the hook, and I would have interns in the back answering the phones. Hi, did you call in about the card? Like, blah, blah. And then I started matching the card. So let's say like a teen boot camp show was running that day, okay, at 3:00 on NBC. I would insert in editing, because the show was edited afterwards, a question like, is your daughter out of control? So they were all in the headset of watching whatever was on. And then I would ask the question. So like 2 weeks later, when we were doing the same show, we would have people who were invested in the topic.
Smart.
So that started understanding how to do that. So it was really like so good because it was so new and so to the beginning, and like, and I had like a handheld camera when no one had handheld cameras.
Wow.
But I could have him run up the steps. People would run up the set. And it was real. It wasn't like, New Jersey Housewives. It was really, really real stuff going on. Anyway, then one day, something bad happened on the Jenny Jones show. They outed a guest and said he was gay and he committed suicide.
I remember that.
Oh, my
God.
My bosses called me in, like, to the 7th Avenue office of Universal. It was Universal Television. And they said, the party's over. Like, you have to vet every guest.
Oof.
We need lawyers in the office. We need a psychologist or psychiatrist.
Wow.
Into the show. I don't know if you remember, like, and then they had to like talk to the psychiatrist before, and we had to make sure that he had never gone to jail and they were never arrested. I mean, it became more like serious because you were ruining people's lives in a way if someone commits suicide.
Correct.
So It sort of was good though, because I really didn't want someone to commit suicide over something
No.
talk
Yeah.
show. But on the other hand, like, well, I won't get to paternity yet. I'll talk about that afterwards. But so what happened was Sally really got sick of doing this kind of stuff. And she was like, I can't live with myself. Like, I look in the mirror. This is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to talk about wine and I'm an artist. And like, no one, every time I tried to put a light show on, like, Sally's going to talk about she loves white wine today. It would get like a 2,
Oh,
and you do paternity and you get a 45. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I had two bosses. I had Sally and I had my executives at Universal, and the executives at Universal were saying, Amy, keep going. We're making millions. I mean, the show was making so much money because the ratings were so high in the old days. No one watches TV anymore, but like you would get like, a 30 rating at like 10 o'clock in the morning. It was ridiculous. That's like Super Bowl numbers. So she just got really fed up and she didn't want to do it anymore. And she was like mad at me because like I wasn't listening. And it was a very hard position for me to be in because I was doing so well. The show was rating so high. My bosses were telling me to keep going with boot camp and out of control teens and lie detector. And my mother's a tramp. And the on-air person whose name is the show didn't want to do it.
Right.
But
There was a disconnect.
so the company, I mean, she basically said, get rid of Amy or me. And they said, we're not getting rid of Amy.
Wow.
Go,
But-
Amy!
But they called me in and I knew it was coming because, I understand, and I did love her. I really did.
Mhm.
And she went along with it for a very long time, 7 years. And she said, and they said, well, we're buying the show Maury. Remember I told you the other show, which was great.
Yes.
So we're gonna buy the show. We want you to be the executive producer. So I'm like, okay. I was very upset though. I loved Sally. And I was like, I don't even know Maury. Is he ever gonna do boot camp? Is he ever gonna do anything? Little did I know.
He was game, okay?
He was.
For shenanigans.
On like Donkey Kong.
And he said this
so
such a
straight.
and he was so serious,
He's so serious. He's never gonna do any of this stuff. So like the first day I go up to him, I go, so like, would you do teen boot camp? Yeah. He was so good with it because he really listened. You know what I mean? Like he would put his arm around them and then, I don't know, like he was actually even better than her.
I love his voice.
I do too. I actually had un petite crush on him back in the day.
Oh my God, listen.
Cute and
Gotta hear
smart.
this. We had a meeting and I had known him because Ted, my ex, he's my ex now, but we're still good friends. My ex-husband was his and Connie's producer in LA. when
Okay.
They were on air,
Oh.
Yep.
local news.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
Ted was-
wow.
So I knew him.
Okay.
But when I got made his executive producer, I didn't know whether he wanted me. And man was like, this reputation of doing Sally, my mother's a tramp. And the company said, Amy's going to be your executive producer. So I went into the first meeting. He looked like the Marlboro Man. He walked in. He
Damn.
was like Levi jeans.
Mhm.
I'll never forget my breath. And he must have been like,
He's tall too,
he was
right?
like- I'd say he was 59. And I'll tell you what. He was
Okay.
like 50. And I was, probably 42. And I was like, I just can't believe how good looking he was. Like my breath was taken away. in the room.
Wow.
He was like a movie star.
Yeah.
Good looking he was.
Very well put
So,
together.
I'm in my, I'm 68 years old. I'll tell you now. I started in TV when I was
You
22.
look amazing.
You do. You look
Oh,
great.
thank you. So I remember I got an invitation from Connie for a surprise 60th birthday for
Oh.
Maury. It was right in the beginning. So he was 59 when I first started. And I turned to my husband. I go, why are we even doing a show? He's going to die.
Oh,
Gosh.
oh my God.
And here I am, like edging to my late
Hey.
60s.
Oh, Amy.
So anyway, so we started doing the show and he would say to me, I'm playing golf like for 3 weeks. And, you had sweeps periods. And I
Mhm.
was like, how am I going to do this? He's playing golf and I have to have, I was so crazy with the ratings always, so like, I was like, okay, from the second I just started putting things into the can that were like crazy shows that I knew I had to save for like the November book.
Mhm.
This was like in August, whatever. So like I just started like getting it down to a rhythm and our offices were connected, mine and Maury's. We were like a married couple. Like I would slam the door, he would come and yell at me. It was like
I love it.
we had a great rapport, but I was like a 2-year-old. Like I would slam the door if he wouldn't do a segment. I was like ridiculous relationship. So then we had like a few shows that we would do out of control teens. We did drag queens, like man or woman. That would never fly now. And we did lie detector. And then we started doing something called paternity.
Oh,
And
I love those.
and it just like took off like a house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the people who were like advertising on the show were like, you have to do some soft shows. You can't just do, all these hard shows. So I would throw in like, Jack Hanna and Animals and it would get like a 0.
Yeah, right.
Next day I would put on, fuck you. And I would through the roof,
Yes.
And I just started like saying like, I don't know what to do. And the same bosses were there that I had done side, but they just keep going. So paternity was like, lie detector. I had like 5 shows that would rate. So I was like switching them up, going like best of, updates. I would do like, and stamp the thing updates. So like it was just like such a creative.
It was so good.
It was
So
before and then
interactive.
and then we put up chyrons. No one had chyrons. And like the mother's waiting backstage. She has no idea. The father's gonna, you know what I mean? Like that her son is sleeping with the teacher. I mean,
It's like the beginning of reality TV, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
it was so much fun to do. It really was. So then, it's the paternity, they wouldn't accept anything except paternity. Like when I say the audience wouldn't watch anything else except paternity.
Wow.
We love
And-
that.
And then it was like, I had to keep doing updates. Like whatever happened to Mary Sue, who was sleeping with 25 men. It got to the point 7 years in where I said, I'm bored. I can't
Yeah.
do this.
Okay.
I was making a lot of money for the company and I was doing really well, but like I thought those glory days would last forever. Here's a lesson for everybody out there. Don't be stupid. The company said to me, well, we're going to do a pilot with Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York.
Yep.
I said, oh, I'll do it. Wacky tobacco.
Oh,
We love the
was-
Royals.
It was so crazy fun. So it was my job to fly. I had a meeting with her in New York, which she was like 45 minutes late to.
oh,
And it was like, call me Sarah, call me Dutchie, call me like it was
Dutchie.
I was like, I don't know what, seriously. And then the company flew me and another executive, Tracy, to England to talk her into signing a deal. Okay.
mm-hmm.
I tell you, it was like a shrink. Like she was like, I'm in my dark space. I don't know how I feel. I'm like, you have to do it.
God.
And so I finally talked her into it. I was sleeping at her and Andrew's house. Tracy
Stop
and I-
it right now. Did you peek inside their cupboards?
Oh my
Of course. Anyway, they were divorced, but they were still best friends.
They still are. I think they're still
Right?
living together.
That's
So
cute.
she comes to me one night and to Tracy and me, and she goes, listen, I'm going into London. You're babysitting the girls. We're like, okay.
Stop it.
Are
So
they
when
lovely?
I'm walking around, the nicest girls. They really were. I'm walking around the house like, the Queen's picture.
Did you steal a spoon? Because I
No.
would have.
I was afraid, but I have pictures. I do have pictures that I've never put up. And
Oh,
I'm going to put them up of me with the girls, like with Beatrice and Eugenie. Like, because I was like, we were babysitting.
that's
that.
insane.
What are
was
your
great.
thoughts, just to digress a little bit, what are your thoughts on Meghan and Harry and the whole fallout with the royal family?
I feel very badly what happened. And I mean, you can't blame Meghan because he's an adult, but I do blame her.
We
and-
do too.
And it's just like, it's so sad because life goes so fast. I'm speaking from the age I told you I am. Life goes so fast. And I think, I don't know, but I bet he's sorry.
Oh,
She
absolutely.
manipulated him emotionally so
She
hard.
played him like a fiddle.
Yeah.
Terrible. And it's just sad, the history. It's just sad when you
Very.
go back and think about, when you watch The Crown and you just see the history and it's just, I mean, listen, they are really a normal family.
True.
you
But
know?
to drive a wedge between Harry and Will's like that,
Oh,
they're all they have for each other.
I know.
After
And
all
she
they've
should
been
be
through.
like, I'm not an expert on this, but she should be like, let's try and make it work, whatever we can do. You know what I mean? All right.
No.
And what's your take on Prince Andrew with the whole Epstein scandal?
I mean, he was there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say. I mean, I wasn't there. What's my take? He was there.
Yeah. And the list disappearing.
Oh, right.
That's a whole
No
other
list. I don't know
show.
where it went. There's no list. Mhm.
So we have
won't get it.
Ghislaine locked up for nothing.
Yeah. I guess she'll be out with Diddy soon.
Why is she being so punished and Diddy's getting out? Like,
She's a
why?
woman.
Oh, gosh. You know
Unbelievable.
Diddy's getting off.
Unbelievable.
Diddy
All right,
already
so
got off.
Yes.
you did. Do you want me to finish my Today Show?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Sorry. So I'm getting bored. I do Sarah Ferguson, and then I started this other show called Home Delivery, which was like Wishes and Dreams, sort of like show, whatever. It was a good experience for me to like try to
Sure.
executive produce shows. So I was at this thing like up front and I was giving a speech, and Jeff Zucker, who was the Universal and NBC merged. So Jeff was like the president of NBC. So he heard me talking, and my friend Mark was like standing next to him, and he turned to this girl and goes, I really like her spirit, her personality. We should talk to her. So I got up the stage and he came over, hi, I'm Jeff Zucker. I said, I know who you are. And he said, I know you're doing Maury, but I really would love you to come to the Today Show and help them because Good Morning America is catching up. They're on our tail and they're going to hate you. The people at the Today Show are going to hate you because you come from daytime and they're going to look down on you. Of course, I'm always at the Schmick Egg show that they look down on. Okay. Meanwhile, you work like dogs on daytime television, right? So sure enough, I went there. Like in the beginning, just helping out. They all hated me.
And this is what year?
This is 2005. Okay. So I ended up staying. And I think I turned people around because they never had anybody who like was motherly, like sitting there going, let's go over your script. Let me come in the edit room. Like I was a very like hands-on executive producer. You know what I mean? Like I just was, that's who I was on daytime. And there were all the newsies there, but like I looked at it like I was working with Kathie and she was great. And the show was starting to become much more girly. And Matt was like not happy. And you know, now
he had an ego. Looks
but
like it
was
and a libido.
But thank you. I'm not going there.
Fair enough.
I went up to research when I first got the job at the Today Show, and I said, "Who's watching the 8 o'clock hour?" Because I was senior producing the 8 o'clock hour, and they said, "Women, 99.9% women, like in their 40s and 50s." I'm like, "Okay." Did anyone? They said, "No one's ever come up here and asked me this."
I was that's shocking.
I was so crazy research and ratings from daytime, you know, because I always wanted to know who's watching,
Exactly.
who's my audience,
and what the advertisers want to know.
Yes, exactly.
So I said, we have to do things like, you know, womanly things. Like we have to talk about, not menopause that we never talk about, but like what's happiness and what's emotional cheating. And we did all those topics on the 8 o'clock hour, and the 8 o'clock hour started rating really high. So in the 7 o'clock hour, this guy Noah, who became like a big deal. And he was actually the president of NBC, was like 12 afterwards. And he was so smart. And he started saying, Amy, I want to put some of your stories at like 20 at from the 7:30 to 8 hour. So the show just started morphing more female oriented. And then they came to me and they said, so listen, my boss said to me, we're going to start a 4th hour and we want you to like be in charge of it. I'm like, and we're going to have Anne and Al and Natalie and like everyone was breathing already on the show. And I was like, I don't think that's going to work. I said, listen, there's this woman, Hoda. She's on Dateline and she's befriended me and she's so funny. And she comes into my office and I really think the audience would like her in daytime. I really understand daytime. I really think. And Jim was like, I mean, he didn't understand, you know, these men didn't understand daytime. I mean, it wasn't mean, but he just like didn't understand. He goes, well, let's go up to Jeff's office and talk to Jeff about it. So like me and 4 guys, you know, they're all like 7 feet tall. I'm 5 feet tall. Go up to Jeff's office on the 52nd floor at 30 Rock. And I say to Jeff, I really want Hoda to be the anchor of the host of the 10. He goes, I don't see it. I don't see it. She's not pretty enough.
Oh, for God's sakes.
So all you were looking at was blonde and blue, you know, and blue eyes at that point, you know? So I said, Jeff, I'm telling you, 10 o'clock in the morning is daytime because Sally used to be on it in that NBC spot at 10 a.m. when I said we were getting 30 shares, you know? So I said, I'm begging you. He goes, okay, but if it doesn't work, you're fired. I said,
again.
I called her, exactly. So I called her up really fast. I go, they're going to call you. Answer your phone. Hang up. So she gets the job, but it's her, Hoda, Anne, Al, Natalie, like 700 people.
It's a gangbang.
It's a lot of ego.
And they're trying all these people out still. It wasn't working. And she was very quiet because she didn't want to usurp Anne.
Right.
You know, she was a very respectful person. Like, so I was in the control room and I said to the boss, I love Hoda. And he goes, she's boring. I raced up the steps. And she wrote this in her book. I raced up the steps. I go, listen to me. Be how you are in my office. You're not being who you are. You're like boring. Just 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She goes back on the air and she writes about it, how like, you know, this crazy person me. And I said, listen, I got to make this work. I mean, they gave me this job. I got to make this work. I said, let's go redo your hair. Let's get clothes. Let's get jewelry. let's go out for lunch. There was this place called Michael's.
I knew that.
It was like a very big, TV and people read magazines back then, a magazine and books place. And we walked in, no one knew who she was. Like no one recognized her. She had been on with like 75 people on the 4th hour. I mean, no one was watching it because it was like, crazy time.
Right.
So I sit down. Remember, I had been in daytime for like a million years, and I look up, and Kathie Gifford is at the next table. I said,
serendipity.
Boom.
"That's your co-host. Let's go."
I
Oh,
love
you
this.
put those two together.
You are a genius.
Freaking brilliant.
I was a huge Hoda fan on Dateline, and I was
Oh.
surprised that she made the leap to daytime. And
they
you
didn't
are a
want her to.
genius.
Their chemistry together.
Yeah.
They're
They're
just
like us.
besties. They just
And
had
I
so
always
much
loved
fun.
I always loved Kathie Lee. Like I always thought she was like Lucille Ball sort of. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, and she really said what she wanted to say. So I go to the boss who takes credit that he put them together.
Of
which
course.
Hoda says sticks up for me every time though, because she knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, all right, let's try them together. So we're like outside. And they all have blue cards, with all the questions and everything. You always see those blue cards.
Mm-hmm.
Kathie Lee takes them, she throws them up in the air at the
Good.
beginning segment of the show. She goes, I'm not reading this off of this. And I'm like, this is such a winner.
Okay.
It starts working. I go to a budget meeting. They start talking about, we should be making the senior producers make $1.50. And I'm like, I'm going to get fired. I know it because I was making a tremendous amount of money for news because
Right.
I had come from Universal and I had made Universal so much money between Sally and Maury. Anyway, I sort of knew the end was coming and I called my agent. I said, the end is coming. I can feel it. Like I'm being left out of lunches.
Yeah.
I was the only woman, of course.
Right.
And they never offered to pay me less money. They just got rid of me.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
So devastating. But guess who came to the rescue? And
Joan Rivers.
Yep.
Wow.
Joan was going to QVC that night. She was getting the car. And she goes, I tell Melissa this, you're going to shed skin and you're going to start again. And I was like so shook up and like crazy. And like, I went from like making this to nothing. I mean, I got like a year severance, but it was like,
It's just
It
like
was
they use you and throw you away.
Exactly.
It's
terrible.
gross.
And also I was mad at them because like, you should have left me at Maury then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bring me
Right.
to get rid of me. And, and I was working on going to everyone. I got fired. I just, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I got a job running a local show in New York, which was in 30 Rock,
Mhm.
but in a little different area. So I didn't have to see everyone. And then people were very nice, but it was really, really debilitating for me. I was really hurt.
I bet.
And
And she did a fantastic job. You were like
it's
fired
like,
without cause.
thanks for nothing.
well, it was, I don't think it would happen now. And I, of course, the age person that I am now, talking to this is like 2008, the Bernie Madoff era, that whole thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it was. And I think that I would have gone in and said, okay, so give me a deal. If you don't want to pay me the same amount of money, then like, let's, you know what I mean? I don't think my agent did a good job,
Yeah.
but I
Somebody
don't know.
should have fought for you.
Somebody should have fought for me. So the bottom line is I started this local show and then I'm like, this is so stupid. It was called New York Live. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's very hard to go from the Today Show to like,
Yeah. Rinky dink.
Yeah.
no, it was just like a local show,
Yeah.
rinky dink. And so the co-host of the show, this woman, Jane Hansen, who I had made her, she used to be like the local with Matt, early morning Today Show 100 million years ago. When I was doing Sally, she was on the air on. So I brought her on to be the host. And then she said to me, let's start like a media training company, like on the side. So we started doing that on the side. And then I think like they moved the show to like 3:00 in the morning or something. I mean, I'm
Oh,
exaggerating.
God.
Like, they pay you 75 cents now. And I said, I'm out of here. And I started my own company.
Good for
called
you.
So You Want to Be on TV.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And I had so many people that helped me, like all the girls at the Today Show and everyone, because they knew
Aw.
that I understood what a good guest was.
Right.
Yeah.
And people in the business just like really helped me get on my feet. And Joan threw a party at her apartment. She said, I don't know what the hell Amy's doing, but help her,
Oh, that's
So that's a
amazing.
good friend.
That is a good friend.
She was great. She was so great. And then my friend Barry, who was like my assistant at Sally, tell me if I'm boring you with these
No,
stories.
not at all.
He was living in LA. And Joan said to me, because I was in a bad way, I'm going out to do a one-woman show in Los Angeles. Why don't you come out and you'll help? And she got me an apartment on the same floor that she was renting. Like,
Oh,
to me, it was crazy. And every night we would go to her, and it really was healed me because I had a place to go every night. Like I
Yeah.
went with her to, she did a one man show. And my friend Barry, who was becoming a big deal in Hollywood, said to me, I'm working on a pilot, and it's going to be So How'd You Get So Rich? And it's like people who like made crazy things like the wee wee pad for the dogs. Like who made that? And
Bought a lot of those.
fake teeth that like stick out and all this such stuff. He said, we're going to go to their houses and get the backstory of how they became so rich. And it was hilarious. The pilot, here's another thing. You know that Queen of Versailles woman?
Yes.
Okay, that was our pilot.
Oh my God, that's a great one.
And then when we got there, whoever like had their hooks into her got the money from her. So like we couldn't even handle the pilot. Pilot
Oh
was
my God.
so funny. I can't even tell you.
Ugh.
I was literally in the car with her, like making in my pants. She was like stopping at the gardeners. I mean, when she was like let free,
Yeah.
she was the funniest thing, like crazy.
Ugh. We've been
really-
trying to get her on our show, but
my
as
God.
you can imagine, it's a no-go.
Yes.
Joan Rivers.
Well, no, we'd have to have a seance, but the Queen of Versailles.
That we can do.
No, the Queen of Versailles, yeah. No, I mean, she was, that house was so crazy. And she like called me the day before, I'm getting new boobs and I'm getting a facelift to come in. So I can go in. I mean, and the kids were like, there were like 75 kids in the family, and the husband, like, she didn't even talk to him. I mean, it was just like fantastic. But a company already like had their claws in.
Wow.
But it was showing us how funny the show could be.
Right.
So Mark Burnett was our partner. It was Barry, Mark Burnett. I was helping. And I said to Barry, let's make Joan the host. Like when he started telling me about it, that was the part I loved. Joan became the host of it. And she just made it so funny. And so people like Mr. Wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
we went to his house, and the cute one, Robert, whatever his name
Oh, he's so cute. Robert Herjavec.
Yes.
flirting. I knew his marriage was never going to last.
Wow.
And so
Charismatic.
what came out of our little pilot, which the show was called How'd You Get So Rich? It was really good, but it didn't make it because it was during the Bernie Madoff, and like no one wanted to hear that.
Oh.
Rich people were out of vogue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was so sad because it was so funny. Like she would run on the tennis court with heels and her Birkin bag.
I love it.
They said, put your balls in the Birkin bag. So like she was really, I mean, it just was hilarious.
Oh.
And she was so funny, and she was so smart. Like she had to write the cue cards to herself by herself. Like she wouldn't let anyone do anything.
Oh, wow.
Like she did everything herself. And anyway,
Talented woman.
I love her so
called
much.
Shark Tank came after that show by Mark Burnett, by the people that we used in that little show.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So I have pictures of me with all of them also. It was 100 years ago. This was like in 2008, right after I got fired. So then I went back to New York, and I decided I'm going to take my own company seriously.
Good for you.
Well, so you want to be on TV, which I just throw them what it is. And like I said, people just started hiring me to do PR, which was like so stupid because like PR is it's like television producing. It just takes balls,
Right.
bowling.
Yep.
And I had a lot of connections because I had been doing it for so long. And of course, there's people that hate you when you're an executive producer or a senior producer. But I had a lot of people that also helped me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't hate me, but I have people like still to this day saying you were my favorite executive producer. I mean, I did try to be like motherly, as executive producer, but you have to be tough also.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have to get the job done.
Absolutely. There's a lot of money at stake too. I mean, you're working for these huge corporations, shareholders, and a lot of people to answer to and pockets to fill.
Advertisers.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're working up and down and across trying to please so many people. But I had a wonderful career. It was amazing. And
Have you written a book, or will you write a book about your life story? You really should.
I don't want to because there's some some stuff in there that like someone said, well, she left that part out. You know what I mean? Like
That's
It's your story.
Exactly.
I think it's very inspirational.
Can you
I
talk?
mean, I think the point is, and I had said this in another podcast, was like the fact that like I became best friends with Joan, or like one of her best friends with Joan Rivers. I mean, and also my first husband was like a wealthy guy, and I would have had a very easy life.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be like everyone else. I wanted to be a television producer.
I
Like,
love
it was
that.
That you did.
Can you talk to us for a few minutes just about Joan Knows Best? Because I used to love, love, love that show. I mean, it was Joan was the perennial comedian, and then Melissa was always the comedic foil, and it was just hilarious the hijinks that Joan would get up to.
They had such good chemistry.
I was working with them on that in the beginning. I actually helped them with the title of that show. It was just like so much fun because she really was living in Melissa's basement in that room.
It's amazing.
And she also like hated the way Melissa decorated. Like, everything you saw was really true, you know, and
They were so cute.
it was so funny. And, they had like a hard relationship. When I was first working for her, Melissa was at University of Pennsylvania, and, Edgar had committed suicide. It wasn't like a fantastic, it was difficult. It was like she was more like a teenager, you know what I mean? And they were really so close. And I think that show brought them even closer.
That's terrific.
Yeah. And then when she got the E show, where she like invented,
That
Fashion
was
Police.
fantastic.
wearing what are you wearing?
I used to watch
And
that all the
She
time.
really invented that whole genre. And it was before people were dressed, people didn't have stylists dressing
Right.
them.
Wow.
People would come in like the most hideous outfits.
Oh, she would shred them.
Plus, I was spending time with her there after the awards. I would like be in like Melissa's dining room, and they were like throwing things out. This one looked like this. This one looked like that. Look, it was just, her brain was like so fast, and just things came out of her, which was so true. And it was what everyone was thinking.
Right.
But she said,
I love it. So talk to us now about your consulting business, how people
thank you, I appreciate that.
can reach you if they'd like to be made into a star.
I have media trained a lot of very interesting people. We media trained A-Rod, which was
Oh, wow.
we've media trained a lot of NBC, like MSNBC people, like because of my relationship with NBC, that I acted like a lady after I got fired and everything. So I had a good relationship. So that's another thing that I'm proud of myself that I did, because I could have been really mad. And you know what I mean? I rose to the occasion, and it's a good lesson for people when you get fired, let go, however kindly you want to say.
You didn't burn the bridges.
Right. And I have a lot of my I represent people also. Like I represent Chris Appleton now. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yep.
He does J-Lo and Kim.
Yep.
And I actually represent this company I work with this company called Color Wow. And the woman who owns the company, her name is Gail Federici. She started years ago with John Frieda, Frizzies. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Great product.
Sold that company, I'm going to make this up, let's say like 20, 30 years ago for like 400 million, which was like, oh my God. Last week, she sold Color Wow to L'Oreal for $2.1 billion.
Oh, hot dog.
Wow.
Good for her. Congratulations.
Right, amazing. So like, I really feel like happy because we really helped Chris as their spokesperson. Drew Auer is my 32-year-old business partner. She's the yin to my yang. I mean, she's like from the Midwest. She's very calm. I'm like, crazy New York too. So we're very good together. And so we'll see what happens with that. But it's been a great experience. And we media trained Barbara Corcoran's winners this year from everything goes in circles, right?
Sure
From Shark
does.
Tank. Because it's one thing when you're on Shark Tank and you're like going, it's sort of like you're reading a script, basically, you know what I mean? And when you go on a TV show, it's not like that. So we went on and taught them how to do that. And then we media trained this other show, American Gladiators. I mean, just like we do a lot of TV shows, we help with a lot of reality shows also. So it's fun, and every day is different.
That's terrific.
Awesome.
So I represent everybody from like artists to, I just came from someone, Tassin is their last name. They make women's clothing. I'm working with them now. It's so much fun. I went through the wife's closet. It's like sick.
Oh, my God.
And I know it's crazy. I said, I really like that. Please give it to me.
Joan Rivers would have.
Hello.
I'm just saying, like, my days are not boring. I mean, this morning I took an 8:15 exercise class. Then I went to Southampton Art Show where I had a client. I had another client come in and put her in a magazine. And then I went over to the Tossin's house to just like go over like how they should be doing certain things. And so I'm still really involved, but I can pick and choose time because I want to see my grandchildren. And my life, I had to slow my life down. I mean, I went to work at 5 o'clock in the morning and got home at 11 o'clock.
Oh, my God,
Wow.
Amy.
Yeah, I
So-
wanted to know how you balanced motherhood and your thriving career.
It was hard. I had a very supportive husband, Ted.
Good.
Very, very supportive. He understood the business and he encouraged me, and he I was when I first met him, he was like this, and I was here, and then his career started going like that, and mine started going like that. So, you know, he was great about it. Like he encouraged me, and I think there's not a lot of men like that.
I agree.
A lot of men are very threatened
Mm-hmm.
by their wives,
Or
being more-
emasculated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wasn't like that. He was great. He really was. He was a great husband. Anyway, so I think it depends on who you're married to or who your partner is,
Yeah.
whether they're, because there's a lot of men who just like, what are you on the phone for? Like I would
Yeah.
have to go in the other room and talk to Sally for like an hour during dinner. And she didn't care that I was having dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and to me, a lot of women wouldn't do it either. Some of the mothers at the school thought, what is she doing? We ever had children. A lot of women didn't have careers like this.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need their approval.
No.
Anyway,
Once your kids were fine.
my kids are great. And they used to say to me, you're like crazy. You're like the FBI, because I would stay home. And I go, why are they late? It's 1 minute after 3. Why aren't they home? I was crazy.
Aw.
They were like, go back to work. You're out of your mind. So it was the right choice for me. And I had boys. I think if I had had a girl, maybe I would have felt I should be around more, but like, they didn't want me around. And I was still like a very involved mom. I wasn't like I wasn't involved.
Mhm.
But my career was, I loved my career, and they got perks out of it.
Exactly.
My son Brett was like 3, and we went to SeaWorld, and he goes, are we going backstage? I said, "We're going backstage at SeaWorld."
Yes.
That's hysterical.
I want to meet Shamu now.
We got backstage. No, there's no backstage at SeaWorld.
Well, he got a taste of the good life, didn't he?
Oh
And
my
then they would go to
god.
Joan Rivers for Thanksgiving, and my son would say, I don't want to wear a suit. Why do we have to wear a suit? I said, you are going to be so sorry when you're older.
Oh my God.
I go to Joan's for Thanksgiving because of your suit, and you know what? He is.
I've seen like photos of Joan's Thanksgiving dinners
Crazy.
that looked epic.
It was never turkey. I mean, it was like,
Who cares? You're in Joan's palatial,
Exactly.
what I hated was, and I had never seen anyone do this, but go around the room and say what you're thankful for, and she would say, and don't you dare say anything about me.
Oh,
don't
bless.
That they're thankful for me. It's not about me.
That's so
And
sweet.
it was really like so nice and so classy. Everything was so classy with her. The china, the tablecloth. I mean, just everything was beautiful.
And she was over the top in the best way possible.
God, I miss her.
There's no one else like
She
her.
was a
And
gem.
The world is way less funny without her.
You put her in like Lucille
know-
Ball, her,
I know. It's funny.
Carol
I
Burnett.
got hired in LA, which I just think is the weirdest place. Like when you live in New York and you go out to do a show in LA, it's just very, very different.
Yeah.
And it was with comedians, which I'm not naming who they were. And I just was so depressed. It was right after Joan died. I'm like, I can't do this. Like they're not
Yeah.
funny. They're not funny. I don't
Yeah.
think they're funny.
Uh-oh.
And it never went anywhere, the show. It was a pilot.
Okay.
I know it's very, very hard because she just was a pioneer. I mean, I'm not saying anything people don't know, but she was so funny in real life also. And had so many funny things, I'm telling you. And I told this story before, but like she had a house in Connecticut, and she would like, a couple of us would like sleep over on the weekends sometimes. I mean, thank Mother of the Year, I'm leaving my kids to go.
I'd ditch it for Joan Rivers too.
So maybe I went a lot of times when they were in camp also over the summer. They were at sleepaway camp. And but this was during the winter, and I was there, and she was like, we were like the same height. Maybe she was 5'1", I'm 5 feet, half an inch. And she was driving this big black SUV. Like, I was like, how are you driving this? Like it was like snowy, and we're driving to a restaurant that she ate at like every night. And like they would really help her always, like bring her in. Someone would park the car for her. It was like icy. It was like the old days when there used to be snow, remember?
Right.
Climate change. And so I go and I go, hi, I'm with Joan Rivers. She's outside in the car. Can somebody go and take the car from her? We can't. We're really busy.
Oh
Can
no.
somebody just go out and help her, please? I mean, it's like a small town.
Right.
No, we can't. We're too busy. I'm sorry. So I go out and I tell her. Well, she put her hand on the horn for an hour outside the window of the restaurant.
Whoa.
Love it. I
In
love
junior high
it.
school.
Fucking
Okay.
brilliant.
Okay, can we leave now? We go, I don't know, we went somewhere else. The next day, she went back during lunchtime and did it again.
I love it.
Revenge.
Savage.
She was so great.
Ah,
She was a prankster also. One story, I just have to tell you the funny story. We were doing, it was either How'd You Get So Rich or Melissa. I think it was How'd You Get So Rich. And we were with these kids, were like, the producers were, young guys. and she decided to pull a prank on them. And she said, "Can I talk to you?" And I always crack up. Like, I can't stop laughing. And she said, can I'm making up names. "Can Tom and Joe come in the room, please?" And we were like, I don't even know. We were shooting somewhere at some millionaire's house and they weren't in the room. And she said, "Can you come in here?" And then she sits down and she says to one of them, "Look, I'm really upset. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with it. I should call the police or not, but I had $500 in my wallet and it's gone. And I had a camera and I know it was you."
Oh,
And
shit.
"What? I didn't. I swear to you." He started crying. It was a joke. He
Oh.
was just like making a joke. And it was just, I mean, you had to be there. It sounds mean now, but it was like sick. And she was a
Little
really
trouble.
good actress. She was a really good actress.
Oh.
You know, she was in shows with Barbara Streisand when they were like teenagers. They played lesbians.
Oh, how funny is that?
I never heard
I never knew that either.
She was going to be. She wanted to be a serious actress, and somehow it turned into this.
She would have been wasted as an actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time.
I know.
Amy, thank you so
Your life,
much.
your life is fascinating. Please come see us in person.
I'm grandma.
Hey.
No, please come visit us in person when you're back in
I
Palm
know.
Beach County.
And if you wrote a book, we would definitely.
I just want to like have a bottle of wine with you and just let you tell me stories.
Oh,
Don't you think that people have heard all these stories, or like that morning show with Jennifer Aniston? I just feel like people have already like heard all these kind of stories.
No, but
Your
yours are
wisdom.
real. I don't know if the stuff on the morning show is real.
Right.
yeah, you're an inspiration.
You really are.
Okay, and so you have lots of, I think, not gems of knowledge to like pass on to, especially women in the industry.
Women in
Women
any
in
industry.
general, women
in
trying to
industry.
balance career and.
Right. It's not easy, and I don't think you can do both 100%. And I'm a person who wants to do everything 100%.
Yeah.
But thank God my kids turned out well, and I'm really like putting everything into my grandchildren now. Like,
Oh,
Beautiful.
congratulations.
thank you. Thank
Can
you.
you tell our bougie crew where they can follow you or
Oh, yes,
contact you?
please. I want everyone to follow me on Instagram because I'm a teeny bopper. It's at Amy Rosenblum TV, Rosenblum TV. And anyone DM me. And like I said, I media train everyone. I help people get on TV. I'll do anything you want me to do. I'm a jack of all trades. But it's Amy Rosenblum TV on Instagram.
Awesome.
And I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. You are amazing.
The legend.
Well, I like you too. How did you guys start? And then we will stop.
We are neighbors.
Yes.
And we live in a small 22-home enclave on A1A, and we had 4 of the homes with absolute fucking maniacs in them, and that's how we started the podcast Crazy Rich Neighbors. And we told the first like 10 or 15 episodes of our podcast are all about the torment of these crazies versus Mia and I and our husbands.
We drove them out. We won.
We did.
Oh, good. That's funny. Well, I love the name of your podcast, and you two are adorable, and you're both pretty. So like, you'll be fine. It's such a deep, it's such a deep thing we do, right? You're pretty. You'll be good.
Well, thanks. We just love to have fun.
Thank
This
you,
is our
Amy.
therapy session every Friday.
Well, good. Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Please come back.
Thanks. Bye,
Okay.
Amy.
Bye, Amy. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, she was awesome.
She's freaking amazing.
Thank you, Ben.